Training camp around the corner. Nick Sirianni talks about the sky-high expectations for his Eagles heading into 2026.
Sky high.
Sky high. Plus, Mekhi Lemon is looking to lock up the number 2 receiver spot. We're going to hear from the Eagles rookie on his health and much more. And our most important Eagles countdown concludes with the quarterback. Jalen Hurts tops the list yet again. What can we expect from the QB this season? And with that, we welcome you here to Birds Huddle, proudly presented by Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL. Alongside Bear Brooks, I'm Amy Fiddle. Happy Monday to you.
Yes.
We've reached number 1 of our top 25. Can you believe it? Where has the time gone?
Well, we had a long time of no football. I mean, we got less than, 2 weeks?
You know it.
And we'd be on the football field talking about football and looking at real reps. Oh, and we might see a pad or two. What? I can't wait, baby. Woo! Let's go.
I love it. Can't wait. It's fired up. We're going to talk a little bit more about that coming up. But when you're looking at where they are, Nick Sirianni had some great stuff to say. We always like that he has these kind of, they're not off the record, but it's just like a meeting of everybody. He has an interview with select reporters, including our own Dave Zangaro and Ruben Frank, and those guys get a little pick his brain before everything kind of gets started. The quote the head coach gave about dealing with expectations, I think, is pretty good. You can see where he's headed. I think it's about mindset you have in a sense of like, hey, freaking expectations are high. It's going to push us to become better because they're so high. But they're high in this building. It's not just outside. That brings us to our 3-point stance presented by Toyota. The Eagles can handle sky-high expectations. That's all they have here after you've reached the Super Bowl like they have 2 different times, won it, obviously. We talk about how tough it is to play here in Philadelphia. In that building, though, they hold themselves accountable. They know it's tough because that's what they expect. And the
expectation is that they're going to have those type of concerns going into the season. Yes, we have to be the best version of ourselves we can be. The gold standard. Remember back long ago when when Mr. Lurie said, we have a gold standard. And everybody laughed at him. Well, hey, here's the gold standard. 2 Super Bowls. They appeared in 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 or 5 years. They've, had countless times where they've had over 10 wins in a season. I mean, this is an expectation that we've grown accustomed to. And I'll tell you what, I mean, this just goes with the territory. I mean, everybody, kind of downplays Nick Sirianni in his coaching style. Like, what is he? Who is he? What is he doing there? What is he doing? He's taking us to Super Bowl. He's taking us to 10 wins or more. He's taking us to the upper echelon of franchises in the NFL. They have become the gold standard. Everybody's trying to chase them. They've been chasing them in the division. This is the second year in a row they won the division, going for the 3rd. I think they're going to get it simply because they work their butts off, and the pressure doesn't alter how they approach the game. They're going to approach the way they approach it. With me, I'd be like, man, we kind of fell apart last year, only won 1 game in the playoffs. I'm making my veterans go in, and they're going to play in the preseason. No, that's not what he does. Nick's not going to do that. Nick's not going to play his starters. And I'm going to be crying about them not playing the starters. And they're going to go in, they're going to win over 10 games. They're going to go deep into the playoffs, but that's just what they do. It's the status quo here. You come here for success. That's what being in that locker room is. That's just how they envision themselves as a team that's going to be successful going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I know you're going to be talking about that last week. But you know that now, at least.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. And I'm still going to, I'm sorry, I'm still going to bitch. I am. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you're going to be irritated by it. Just remember that.
But, they are underappreciated, though. That both Nick Sirianni.
Oh, yeah.
Our quarterback, Jalen Hurts.
Now we're going to talk about him.
He's underappreciated. I mean, it's just how we are in Philly,
That's how we like it. Mm-hmm. Stance number 2, Nick Sirianni has no concerns with Sean Mannion. Not that he should have ever had one, but he is a first-time play caller. Of course, Mannion taking over as the offensive coordinator.
That before.
Here's what Nick Sirianni said, quote, I am not at all concerned there as far as his inexperience at that because he's worked his butt off. I'll use that word. And I know that he'll work his butt off as to be ready as possibly he can that day. So Barrett Sirianni also said Mannion is the first one in, last one out of the facility every day. I would imagine that's a pretty good thing.
Right.
Confidence. This guy knows what's on the line. He knows that he's dealing with a lot of expectations, not just for the season, but of himself and this offense.
Well, I've heard enough to say that I should be concerned, but I'm not as concerned as I should be. Put it like that. I mean, everybody I've talked to, coaches I've talked to, and the players I've talked to said he's probably the smartest guy in the building. And that's high accolades for, you know, an organization that's been to the playoffs the last 4 years, Super Bowl twice. Smartest guy in there. He say he works hard. Hard work, you know, I mean, that's what you have to do. But the pressure is on him, and I seem to be the only person worried about, you know, him just being a first-time play caller. I mean, how many times we walked in a situation where first-time play caller in the NFL, that's 3 coaches. This will be the 3rd coach. The 3rd coach, you know, that's going to come in and call plays for a team that's been in the playoffs, had 10 wins or more the past 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, you're going back to like Patullo and Brian Johnson?
For sure.
They were.
I mean, yeah. Patullo, Brian Johnson had not called plays before.
They had also hadn't worked anywhere else before.
I don't know, you know. Well,
really.
But still, though, he hadn't even been an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, true.
He hasn't been an offensive coordinator. Let that sink in. Hasn't been an offensive coordinator. And he was a backup quarterback in the league. So that gives me a little bit of, okay, I can calm down a little bit. Because those guys are usually would become the best coaches, backup quarterbacks. Number one, because they've had the chance to see and look at, all right, this is what I would have done. And that's exactly what Mannion did. He said, you know what, if I had my offense, I'd run this. And he'd write it down in this little book and set it aside. If I was going to play against this, I'd do this right here, set it aside. Coach's son. And once again, you know, coach's son being those guys that want to call plays, want to be coaches, career coaches, because that's all they know. I mean, it's so much, you know, and I love the fact that backup QBs, you know, their coaching style, what they've seen and how they can approach the game. It's a respect factor with Hurts, too. Hurts is like, hey, you played the game before.
Yeah,
so,
I got you.
I got a little bit, you know, I'll trust what you say.
You're starting at a higher bar.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Saints number 3, Mekhi Lemon, will be the number 2 receiver for this Eagles team. The rookie out of USC was at Citizens Bank Park over the weekend, throwing out the first pitch before the Phillies-Mets game on Saturday. Then he joined Tom McCarthy and John Kruk in the booth to discuss the upcoming season.
Everything good?
Yeah, 100%. That was my main thing, you know, going into this offseason, really just getting healthy. And then, you know, just enjoying my time out here. You know, hospitality's been great, you know, here at the Phillies game. So it's my 3rd one, so, you know, I'm enjoying it.
I know that you missed your time because of your hamstring and everything like that, but how has it been just to kind of get to know everybody?
It's been good. You know, the guys welcomed me with open arms ever since I stepped into the building. So just creating that bond, you know, on and off the field with the guys, because, you know, I'm going to be spending, you know, a bunch of time with them. So it's been great so far, though.
So he obviously missed some of the time when he was still coming back from that injury, but he was on the field. He's been in the playbook. He's been in those meeting rooms. How confident are you that he will win that number 2 job?
Well, number one, I mean, he was my number 1 receiver. I love the kid when he was coming out. You know, I can't believe we picked him up. But one thing about him, you know, he's a Cali kid. You know, we love these Cali kids that come out from, you know, receivers. You know, D-Jax being one of them. You know, he came in, had a great season. But, I mean, this kid, he gives you everything you want. The honest guy doesn't lie. I saw the production he had at USC. I saw in the Big Ten how he was one of the best receivers in the Big Ten. You know, looking at it, I saw the talent there. He's able to go out there. Look, I mean, catching in the middle of the field and then running and trying to pick up more yards. Look at that drive, you know. And look at him. I mean, he wants to be the best player out there. He's always intense on the field. He doesn't mind catching a ball in the middle of the field. He'll go out there and put everybody to the test. And I like the fact that he creates separation in his routes. You know, and that's a big thing that we need here in Philadelphia. I mean, Jalen likes to throw the ball to guys that are open. And he's one of those guys that gets open and gets open a lot of the times, you know, just from his route running alone. But I love the intensity this kid plays in. You know, he wants to be great. He wants to succeed. And I think those, along with his talent and the separation that he runs in his routes, and he learns the system, he'll eventually be the second wide receiver we use, you know, on the field. You know, 11 personnel, he'll be on the field.
He has the yards after contact, yards after catch. So it's good stuff.
Tough, hard-nosed player.
Yeah, absolutely. We have finally come to the conclusion of our top 25 most important countdown of the Eagles. And it's no surprise who's at the top.
No surprise at all.
It's number 1. Number 1. Quarterback Jalen Hurts, number 1 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, number 1 on our list. And it has to be 2 Jalen's at the top. There's no surprise. The quarterback is the most important position on the football field. We all know that. Sorry, everybody else, including offensive linemen next to me. But we all know, especially for this team, Jalen Hurts is it, right?
Well, he's definitely the best, the most important player on the field. I mean, he has to be. It's the, you know, it's the number 1 guy when you go into an offense. He has to be the guy that's in control. You know, where he goes, his team goes. And I love the fact that everybody's just, they're just counting them out. I can't believe they have him ranked 17th out of all the QBs in the NFL. I mean, it's so disrespectful. I mean, come on now. Guys that didn't even play last year, only played like 4 or 5 games, are ranked higher than he is. Their disrespect is real, and I'm tired of it, really, really tired of it.
You just haven't won like a playoff game. Like, yeah, he can do it.
Ain't even made it to the playoff. I mean, Herbert, yes, you have a, cool arm during the season, but after the season, I mean, what have you done? I mean, he has done it all. He's won a Super Bowl. He was MVP in a Super Bowl. He should have been MVP in the Super Bowl they lost, but, they just didn't win the game, so he didn't get it. But, I mean, he's effectively made this team one of the upper echelon teams in the NFL. He has taken the reins and did everything that's been asked of him to win, and win at a clip that's, 10 games or more each season. Jalen Hurts is so underrated and so underappreciated that he takes this and he values this because he keeps that rock on his shoulder. Yes, I hear everybody. I hear what you're saying. What did he say? Hey, is that what you wanted to see? Well, I'm saying he's cheating receipts, and that's what he's going to say at the end of this season. Is that what you wanted to see? You guys, I've worked my butt off every single year and be the best version of myself I could be, and I win at an amazing clip, and you still think that I'm just an underrated quarterback. Well, I love him going to be in the way he's going to be in this new offense. Everybody's, he need to run. He's going to run when he needs to run. They might call some plays for him, but we don't really need. We got Saquon Barkley back there. But with this offense, boot protection, waggle protections, play action protection. Those things are going to help him run a little bit, number one, but then give them the versatility to get those defenses that he's going to run also. He's going to be great in this new offense, and I can't wait for him to go out there and keep receipts. I mean, he had over, I think over 3,500 yards this season. He had 33 touchdowns this year, 25 passing touchdowns, 25 passing, and then he had 8 rushing touchdowns. And we didn't even run the tush push for over half the season.
Good point.
That's one of our best weapons. We didn't even run it. We couldn't run it because our offensive line was so hurt. So when we add those tush pushes, I bet you this. If we had the tush push, I bet you we'd have won a lot of those games, by a bigger margin.
Yeah, and even some of the close games they lost,
sure.
I think. You were just kind of rattling off, so let's check out some of the career accomplishments as a starter. He has been the starter for the Birds for 5 years. And in that time, he's had 5 playoff appearances, 3 division titles, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl ring, plus a Super Bowl MVP. Could have had the other one.
Yep.
Hurts has now made 3 Pro Bowls, second-team All-Pro in 2022, and he also was an MVP candidate. So, Barrett, accolades extensive, but many still, and we just mentioned it, there's the list out there that's put forth that has polls from front office and coaches that has him 17th. Why do you think that is? That there's so many still questions around how he's going to perform.
Well, we didn't help himself last year. Last year our offense it wasn't worth 2
years. You just rattled it off.
I know, and those type of production, and we were only averaging what?
You take his name out of it, you look at those numbers and say, oh, it's pretty good.
Really good, and it's just because he doesn't do the same things that most of these other quarterbacks do. He's not he's a guy that you see on a lot of advertisements. He doesn't say much. He doesn't have the the swagger that most guys have. He's one of those guys that sit back and they let his play on the field dictate who he is. He doesn't say much to us as reporters and people trying to interview him, but he says enough on the field that we could give him a lot more than what we give him. So I mean, the disrespect, I'm just tired of it. But I can see him going into this season, keeping those receipts, and giving everybody the finger. Yeah. You know what finger I'm talking about.
The ring finger, because they might win a Super Bowl. There have been plenty of changes around Jalen Hurts this offseason. A.J. Brown, of course, is gone. Sean Mannion is now the new offensive coordinator. Earlier this offseason, Hurts was asked about having yet another new OC and getting comfortable in another new system.
Comfort comes with the teaching and the time on task to what you're doing, and so you just want to continue to build in those areas. I think it's been the same for me every year. When it comes to coaching points, intention, vision, what are we really trying to drive what we're doing and what we're doing. And so just really having a listening ear, asking questions, getting answers, going out there and repping it, feeling it, seeing different looks, seeing different coverages, knowing what to adjust to, what to feel. So obviously a different voice, different perspective of the game. And every OC has added their own flavor on it.
Appreciate the no hat. You know that. Let's take a look at our final list. Top 25. Here it is in its entirety. Biggest takeaway when you look at this?
I see a lot of guys.
It's a good team.
Yeah, exactly. A really good team. I see a lot of guys on that list that are the tops of their position. I mean, you look at it. Cam Jurgens, one of the top centers, a Pro Bowler. Landon Dickerson, Jordan Davis, Saquon. Exactly. Guys that, are virtually some of the best players in the NFL. This is a really packed roster. Howie Roseman did a great job of assembling guys who come out there and that can ball. So my expectation is, with Jalen Hurts leading the way, this could be another Super Bowl winning team. They're going to be very competitive this year. Now, it's going to take a little time for that offense to pick it up, and Jalen's going to, get those guys going in the right direction. But the defense, I think, is good enough to really hold us off until they do come.